People absolutely love pasta because it's fast, it's delicious, and it's really easy to make. If you're having a date night, this is probably one of my go-tos because you can add so much flavor to beautiful noodles. So we're here at Landers, we're gonna grab all the different noodles and pastas that we need, then we'll head back to the studio and show you these very delicious, quick recipes.
Drop your worries, darling, and move your feet. Set your mind at ease and dance with me.
Back in the studio. So this is gonna be a really quick recipe. It is a loaded crab recipe and it's absolutely not authentic to any Italian pasta. The only thing Italian here we're gonna be doing is using spaghetti, that's about it. And it's just a play on just loading something up with one main ingredient. So crab is the main ingredient. We're gonna be using some crab meat, some crab fat, and some crab claws. All that put together with really nice creamy pasta sauce that will get you in and out of the kitchen really quickly. So very simply, we're gonna start with, what are we gonna start with? Oh, we're gonna salt the water. So super key when you're making pasta, that's sugar. Super key when you're making pasta is to put a lot of salt in your pasta water. People always put not enough salt because at the end of the day, you're never really gonna add salt to your spaghetti once it's done, unlike a steak or something like that. So it's really important for that water to have most of that salt seasoning. Boil the pasta in here, and while all of that is cooking down, we're gonna basically make the base of the sauce. So we're gonna start with some garlic, nice little thin cuts. To that, we're gonna be adding a little bit of white onion. I'm gonna get my small pan here nice and hot, some olive oil, and then we're gonna toss in some garlic and some onions in there. On this side over here, I've got a pot of really hot oil. I've turned off the fire at this point. I'm gonna grab my crab claws and I'm gonna go ahead and crack them. Very gently, we are gonna be lowering this into our oil. We're just gonna let that cook down for about 2 to 3 minutes until that meat in there is nice and cooked. In my pan here with the garlic and the onions, I'm now gonna toss in a nice heaped tablespoon of crab fat and some tomato paste. Mix all that together for about 1 or 2 minutes. To this, I'm gonna add our crab meat. This is parboiled crab meat, pepper, and some salt. Finally, a little bit of cream. I'm gonna let that get to a slow simmer. Let's taste this. Woo! That's good. Now all we gotta do is wait for our pasta. Once your sauce has come together beautifully and once your pasta is cooked, we're gonna go ahead and transfer the pasta into the sauce. So don't be afraid here of the pasta water because remember it does have a little bit of salt which will help kind of like season and flavor the whole dish. Last finishing touches, a little bit of Parmesan cheese. You really don't need that much because you already have so much cream in there, so just a tad bit. And then I'm gonna throw in some basil leaves as well. And that is good to transfer to a plate. Add a bit more of our basil here and there. Take whichever crab claw looks the best to you. Look at that meat, absolutely tender and gorgeous. And there you have it, a beautiful pasta dish using some spaghetti, some cream, very basic ingredients, and 3 different styles of crabs. What more could you ask for? Seriously, look at that, gorgeous. Time to give it a taste. This looks insane. There's so much crab in this recipe. Like, I can't tell the difference between the cheese and the crab. So good. Let's check the meat out. Woo! That's what I like about deep frying crabs. It's just, they're so easy to break. They get nice and brittle. And look at that meat. Perfectly tender and beautifully cooked. With fresh crab, you really don't need to add much. It's literally just oil. You didn't even add any seasoning and it's so delicious. Second pasta recipe, also very quick. We're gonna be making a variation of vodka rigatoni. Rigatonis, if you haven't seen them, because I'm already cooking it, so it'll be quicker. are these little things. What I love about them is that they've got these ridges on them and they're hollow. So when you make a creamy sauce with them or a thick sauce, they're fantastic because the sauce literally claws to the pasta and then some of the sauce actually goes inside as well. So, molto bene, molto bene, molto bene. Oh my God, Italians, please don't help me. So really simple, half an onion and then diced. Couple cloves of garlic. These ones can be thinly sliced as well. We don't need to mince them. All that goes into a little pan with some olive oil. Once we have a little bit of color on our garlic and our onions, we can go ahead and add some tomato paste. You're gonna add a lot of it. It's about 4 tablespoons. At this point, you can also add some dried chili flakes, some paprika, or whatever tickles your fancy. I wanna just try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm gonna cook that down a little bit until that paste kind of gets nice and soft. After a couple of minutes, you'll see that it's still chunky, and that's where the vodka comes in. So the vodka, just like cooking with any alcohol, you're looking to just basically deglaze the pan and grab all those flavors that are swimming around the pan. It's about 4 tablespoons. This is gonna add some flavor, but it's gonna add 0 alcohol because the heat is gonna completely dissipate all that alcohol. Next, 3/4 cup of cream, low heat, and keep mixing that until a nice homogeneous sauce forms. You want it nice and smooth. Let's try our rigatoni. Whew. Maybe 2 more minutes. At this point, when your sauce has come together completely, you can actually take it off the fire. Our pasta is now ready. Take that off the fire. Same process as last time. Go ahead and just transfer the rigatoni. You're looking for every piece of pasta here to be perfectly covered with sauce. So just add them slowly, toss them, and then decide if you need to add more or not. Then to help bind everything together, because you did transfer a little bit of pasta liquid in there, some Parmesan cheese. Just crumble it, throw that in. Transfer this onto our dish. Finish it with a bit more Parmesan cheese. You can add some basil at this point if you want, extra virgin olive oil, tie it all together. That is a plate of love. Looks so good. This is what you want a pasta dish to look like. Just beautiful, simple, full of flavor, and I'm about to confirm that right now. Woo! I'm getting little shivers here. Next recipe. I reserved the best for last because it's the simplest. So if you have a hot date tonight or someone's coming over and you really want to make a really good dish very quickly and have a little bit of history to say about the dish, then this is the one for you. We're going to be making an Alfredo pasta. So Alfredo pasta is one of those things that people just took and then ran with it in terms of adding ingredients and stuff. Most people, when you think of Alfredo sauce, they think of things with cream and a bunch of different ingredients, depending on who you ask. But that's basically the more American version of it. The history of the dish actually says that this guy called Alfredo had a wife who was pregnant and she just couldn't find flavor, she wasn't getting hungry or anything like that. So he took a very classic Italian dish called fettuccine al burro, which basically means fettuccine and butter. And then when she was hungry, he said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna add some Parmesan cheese to the whole dish and hopefully she'll like it. And she could not stop eating it. So basically, it's 3 ingredients. It's fettuccine cooked properly, some Parmesan, and some butter. That's about it. If you look at the original recipes, the amount of butter in this dish is insane. I think it's half a pound of butter for a pound of pasta, which is pretty crazy. So we're gonna do something a bit lighter, but we're still gonna add quite a bit of butter because that's the base sauce. So this to me looks like about 40 grams. And I'm gonna slowly melt that in my pan. Then we're gonna add the pasta, then we're gonna mix in the cheese. It's simple as that. At this point, we really don't need the heat anymore because the heat emanating from the pasta is what's gonna help kind of just melt all the cheese that's in there. I'm gonna put quite a bit of cheese and then we're gonna use the pasta water to bind everything. Remember, the pasta water is really well seasoned, so that's where all your salt's gonna come from that and the cheese. So what I'm doing here, it's just really important to keep checking, adding some pasta water, just so you really nicely create a sauce. there you have a perfectly simple, well executed butter, Parmesan cheese, and fettuccine noodle dish. Beautiful. This spread looks absolutely gorgeous. Let's try the Alfredo. That's delicious. Happy Pasta Day. Peace out.
Drop your worries, darling.